In this unit, our topic is life science. We will focus on the relationship between musical experiences and intelligence. By the end of this unit, you will figure out whether musical experiences can enhance intelligence, identify the global structure of an academic essay, and retell the researches based on keywords. Can musical experiences enhance intelligence? Let's go to the text.
Can musical experiences enhance intelligence? In a 1993 experiment, researchers reported that college students who listened to a Mozart sonata for a few minutes just before taking a test of spatial reasoning abilities did better on the test than students who took the test after listening to relaxation instructions or sitting in silence. Rauscher, Shaw and Kai, 1993. Strains of Mozart, the investigators concluded, seem to induce changes in the brain that warm up neural connections, thereby improving thinking. But the gain in performance, widely publicized as the Mozart effect, lasted only 15 minutes and proved difficult to replicate. Pishnig, Voracek and Foreman, 2010. Rather than involving a real change in ability, Mozart seemed to improve arousal and mood, yielding better concentration on the test. Schellenberg et al., 2007. Despite mounting evidence that the Mozart effect was uncertain at best, the media and politicians were enthralled with the idea that a brief exposure of the brain to classical music in infancy, when neural connections are forming rapidly, might yield lifelong intellectual benefits. For a time, the states of Georgia, Tennessee, and South Dakota provided free classical music CDs for every newborn baby leaving the hospital. Yet no studies on the Mozart effect have ever been conducted on infants, and an experiment with school-aged children failed to demonstrate any intellectual gains as a result of simply listening to music. McAlvey and Lowe, 2002. Research suggests that to produce lasting gains in mental test scores, interventions must be long-lasting and involve children's active participation. Consequently, Glenn Schellenberg, 2004, wondered, can music lessons enhance intelligence? Children who take music lessons must practice regularly, exhibit extended focused attention, read music, memorize lengthy musical passages, understand diverse musical structures, and master technical skills. These experiences might foster cognitive processing, particularly during childhood, when regions of the brain are taking on specialized functions and are highly sensitive to environmental influences. Schellenberg recruited 132 6-year-olds, children just enough for formal lessons. First, the children took an intelligence test and were rated for social maturity, permitting researchers to see whether music lessons would affect some aspects of development but not others. Next, the children were randomly assigned to one of 4 experimental conditions. 2 were music groups. 1 received piano lessons and the other voice lessons. The third group took drama lessons, a condition that shed light on whether intellectual gains were unique to musical experiences. The fourth group, a no lessons control, was offered music lessons the following year. All music and drama instruction took place at the prestigious Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto, where experienced teachers taught the children in small groups. After 36 weeks of lessons, a longitudinal follow-up was conducted. The children's intelligence and social maturity were assessed again. All 4 groups showed gains in mental test performance, probably because the participants had just entered grade school, which usually leads to an increase in intelligence test scores. but the two music groups consistently gained more than the control groups. Their advantage, though just a few points, extended across many mental abilities, including verbal and spatial skills and speed of thinking. At the same time, only the drama group improved in social maturity. In sum, active, sustained musical experiences can lead to small increases in intelligence among 6-year-olds that do not arise from the comparable drama lessons. But other enrichment activities with similar properties, such as reading, science, math, and chess programs, may confer similar benefits. All demand that children invest far more time and effort than they would in listening to a Mozart sonata. Nevertheless, despite absence of evidence to support their claims, music companies persist in selling CDs entitled Tune Your Brain with Mozart and Mozart for Newborns, A Bright Beginning.
Hello, this is Yang Fang from Tsinghua University. Today I have invited two of my students to come here to talk about whether musical experiences will enhance intelligence.
Hello, this is Zuo Wan. I come from the Department of Foreign Languages and Literatures.
Hello, this is Qin Zixiao. I also come from the Department of Foreign Languages and Literatures, and I majored in Japanese.
Mozart's music has been very popular. Some researchers believe that listening to Mozart's music will help students to improve their performance, while other researchers think we don't have enough evidence to prove that Mozart's music will really help change one's ability. Today we are going to look at a paragraph and found some difficult sentences to study. Now let's look at paragraph 1. In this text, we have many difficult sentences in every paragraph. Now let's start from paragraph 1. Do you have any questions?
Well, I have one about this warm up. What does it mean here?
Warm up is a very well chosen expression. It is used as a verb. It means activate neural connections.
How about the word thereby?
Thereby is a linking word. It is as a result of one's actions. In the next sentence, the writer is talking about whether Mozart's music has a great impact on our performance. Do you think it really helps?
Well, I think yes, to some extent it might actually help. For example, when I'm doing my homework or some difficult task, a little bit Mozart might actually help me to concentrate.
Yes, I think it's true. I sometimes do that in my dormitory.
In the next sentence, politicians, media, and the public seems to believe that Mozart's music is very important for child's development. So, do you think so?
Actually, I don't think so, but my parents are convinced of this idea, and they asked me to play piano in my early childhood.
How about Cecilia?
Well, my parents also believe so.
In the next sentence, we have a key word here, intervention. How do you understand intervention?
Well, I suppose it means children's exposure to music.
Well, I thought it is a negative word, but it seems that in this sentence it has a positive meaning.
Yes, you're right. The next sentence talks about full groups. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I noticed there's the word no lesson. I don't get the point up here.
No lesson groups means this group of students hasn't got any musical instruction.
Well, how about shed light on? I'm not quite sure about its meaning.
Shed light on means help to explain the situation. Next sentence is also a very long sentence. Do you have any questions?
Yes, what's the meaning of persist in?
Persist in means continue to do something.
So when it comes to persisting, does it mean it is difficult to do?
Yeah, it's both difficult and also means sometimes people don't agree with you, but you continue to do it.
The researchers concluded that Mozart's music seems to bring about changes in the brain which activate neural connections and thus help the students to think more clearly. In this sentence, the investigators concluded is inserted to add variety to the sentence. Warm up is a well-chosen expression, and it means that the neural connections are activated. Thereby means as a result of this action. In this sentence, it is an adverbial clause, which explains that the result of forming up neural connections will improve thinking.
Here, rather than means instead of. In this sentence, the main sentence is Mozart seems to lead to improved arousal and mood. The use of rather than indicates that the gain in performance does not bring about a real change in one's ability. Yielding better concentration on the test is an adverbial clause, which explains that improved arousal and mood has actually helped one to concentrate more on the test.
In this long sentence, the key idea is that the media and politicians were deeply interested in the idea that brief exposure of the brain to classical music in infancy might yield lifelong intellectual benefits. The first clause is an adverbial clause of concession. It means despite the fact that more and more evidence shows that the Mozart effect was not evident. When neural connections are forming rapidly, this is a time clause which specifies that in one's infancy, neural connections are forming very rapidly.
In this sentence, the key idea is that interventions must be long-lasting. Also, interventions must involve children's active participation. To produce lasting gains in mental test scores is the purpose of the intervention. Another version of this sentence could be, research suggests that, to produce lasting gains in mental test scores, intervention must be long-lasting, involving children's active participation.
In this sentence, a condition that sheds light on whether intellectual gains were unique to musical experiences is a long clause, which defines the third group. There are 4 groups in this paragraph. This sentence explains that the third group is different from the music groups, and the fourth, the no lesson group, did not receive any musical instruction. Shed light on means to help to explain a situation.
These 4 groups illustrated the gains in mental test performance. This is probably because the participants had just started their study in grade school. Usually, during this specific period, intelligence test scores will increase.
Nevertheless is a useful word, which means despite what has just been said or referred to. In this sentence, it indicates that although a lot of activities and musical experiences have been described, there is still not enough evidence to support their claims. Also, music companies persist in selling CDs means that these music companies have made every effort to sell their CDs, even though there is no concrete evidence that listening to them will benefit children's mental development.